All right, now we're doing 8Q, Keep Hydrated. This is by Paul Richard, and 88% of the people like it. So Nathan loves cycling. Because Nathan knows it is important to stay hydrated, he drinks zero point 0.5 liters of water per hour of cycling. So we're going to get given the time in hours, and we need to return the number of liters Nathan will drink rounded to the smallest value. All right. So here's 3 hours, and so it's 1.5. Since 0.5 times 3 is 1.5, rounded down to 1. 6.73, and then so on and so forth. All right. So naturally, we're going to have to do something where we say time multiplied by 0.5, right? So, but the thing is, how are we going to get rid of what's after the decimal point? The decimal point and whatever's after it, all right? So with that being said, we could do something like this. We could say let array, and I'll show you why it's array in a second, equal time multiplied by 0.5. We'll see, we could do something like get a for loop in here and iterate through whatever time, whatever this liters is going to be. Liters. All right. We could do that. And so let's do that. But the thing is, to iterate through, we can't use numerals. We can't use numbers, like primitive numbers. We have to use an array of strings of the digits. Hopefully that makes sense for you. So that being said, what we're going to do here is we're going to make this into an array right now, right? So let's wrap this up in an array real quick and do a console.log on it just to see what it does. Console.log liters, all right? Let's test that out. And look, it's 1. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's get a harder one. This one looks hard. There we go. Test that. All right, so now we've got this crazy looking number. That being said, now we're going to have to put each one of these digits in its own, plus the decimal, in its own element. And right now, we can't do that because, you know, a numeral, you can't break down numbers like that. So we're going to have to turn this thing into a string to start off with. So let's wrap this thing up like this and use the string constructor, if you don't know about it, which is used to create new string objects. And then also, when called as a function, it performs type conversion to primitive strings. And that's what we're going to do, use it as a function. So we wrap this thing up in parentheses and type string. Like that. How about that? All right, now let's test it out, see what it looks like. All right, now we've got this in a string. But the thing is, we need to get all these elements, all these digits and this period in their own, what is this thing called? Elements, right? So to do that, we're going to use this thing called spread syntax. Because spread syntax allows an iterable such as an array or string to be expanded in places where 0 or more arguments or elements, specifically this elements is what we're going to use it for array literals, are expected. So since we're making an array literal of this, we just do this. We just say ... test it out. And now look at that. Now we've got something we can iterate through, right? Actually, I guess we could have just iterated through it as a string. Forget about that. Forget what I just did. Sorry about that. Can we? Well, if we can't, I'm going to have to redo this video. So let's try it that way. Let's do a for loop. For let I equals 0 while I is less than liters dot length I plus plus. All right. And let's make another thing. Let's say comma down here. Let's say result equals this right here, an empty string. All right. So let's say if, with an if statement, if liters at I equals, does not equal a period, we're going to say result plus equals, and we're going to say liters at I. And if not, else, we're going to break out of the loop. All right. And now let's get rid of this. Let's just return, let's do a console.log result, console.log result. Check that out. Is that the number we're looking for? That's the number we're looking for. So let's come over here and let's just say return result. Test that out. Oh, nope. See, the thing is we got to make this thing into a number. So we're going to use the number constructor. And basically it's the same thing as the string constructor, but when called as a function, it performs type conversion to a primitive number, which is usually more useful. So we're just going to wrap this thing up in parentheses and say number like thus. All right, now let's test it out. Looks good. Attempt it. All right, that's great. And look, with all that work, we were able to get what we wanted in 1 millisecond, no less, very quickly. But there's a thing that we can use to make this much, much simpler. We could come down here, and we could come over here, and we could say return right there. And then we could get all this and say get out of here. And we could wrap this thing up in parentheses. And we can say in front of this, math.floor. What's that? What's math.floor? Math.floor static method always rounds down and returns the largest integer less than or equal to a given number. So it basically just rounds down. So let's test that out. Oh, look at that. Look at that. And attempt it. 1 millisecond, 1 millisecond. So it's up to you what you want to do. I'm going to say submit on this one. All right. And so basically you see it's just like this. 14,583 people plus these folks say, let's do that. Here's something. Times, time divided by 2. Yeah, I guess that works. Yeah, of course that works. And then you keep going and then you'll check out, ooh, this one right here. This, if you do this, it seems like it's the exact same as math.floor, right? So that's a good thing to be aware of. And you can, oh, look, you can parse int on it too. And there's just all kinds of stuff we can do. Let's go to mine. Just 1,540 of us plus these folks. And best practice, in my opinion, very much like it. And we'll see you next time.